Thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation. My name is Clay Lexon and I'm one of the engineers of the City of Moorhead. This is an informational video for an upcoming street construction project proposed to take place during the summer of 2024. In this video, we'll cover several topics including the city's pavement management program, a description of the proposed work, a funding summary, and ways for you to provide comments. We will also let you know how to stay up to date as the project progresses. Before we get into the specifics of this project, we want to mention one additional source of information that you might find helpful. The city has a dedicated website that provides information on the city's pavement management program. If you've never heard of a pavement management program, that's okay. This will be a great place for you to check out. In addition to providing background on what a pavement management program is, you'll get information on how the city selects projects, work strategies for major projects, a deeper explanation of funding and assessments, and a lot more. On this website, there are also great interactive mapping tools that show where projects are located across the city. That includes past projects, current projects, and upcoming projects. There's also another informational video as well. It is a great supplemental source of information to the video you're now watching. If you click on that, you'll arrive at this page, and then you can scroll through the page at your own pace. Now I'll go through the history of the project area and the existing conditions. So per city records, the roads in the project area were constructed in the 1940s. The area has both concrete and bituminous or asphalt pavement. As for major work since the original construction, 4th Avenue was reconstructed in the early 90s. 5th Avenue had a mill and overlay in 1995, and 6th Street had a seal coat in 2000. There have likely been some other minor maintenance projects performed on these streets, but it's not on record. Many of the pedestrian ramps in the project area do not meet current ADA standards, and so those will be replaced. Generally, this means that they are too steep, do not have detectable warning panels, or have very uneven surfaces. There are also several isolated segments of sidewalk that will be replaced so that we can make them ADA compliant as well, but most of the sidewalk within the project area will be left as is. There are sections of curb and gutter that will be replaced or repaired to improve drainage on the street, but not all curb and gutter will be replaced. The storm sewer is in good condition, and so no improvements are proposed at this time. The sanitary sewer is generally in acceptable condition. The city periodically televises the sanitary sewer mains and makes repairs when defects are identified. At the present time, no repairs are necessary. The water mains in this area are all cast iron pipe and are in poor condition. Cast iron pipe is susceptible to corrosion, and with the age of this pipe, it often needs repairs. Moorhead Public Service will be replacing the existing water mains with new PVC water mains. This will be done as a part of the city's project. Other utilities are privately owned and maintained. The gas mains are in need of replacement, and we will talk more about that on the following slide. Now I'm going to go over some specific information about what we're proposing to do in this project area. The proposed street improvements for this area include both mill and overlay and reconstruction projects. And this picture shows the type of work we're proposing to do and where it will be. We are proposing a mill and overlay on 4th Avenue and 5th Avenue. This is shown as the dotted blue line. This will include removing and replacing a couple inches of pavement on the existing road. We are also proposing a reconstruction of 6th Street. This is shown as the solid purple line and will include the complete replacement of the pavement section and the curb and gutter. We are also proposing to replace a significant amount of sidewalk on that street as well. As I mentioned, Moorhead Public Service will be replacing the water main across the entire project area. This will be done as a part of the city's contract. Lastly, Xcel Energy will also be upgrading and replacing their gas mains in the entire project area. That work is generally in the boulevard. That work will be done under a separate contract, and we're anticipating that it will be done in advance of the city's street construction project. On this slide, we've got some generic project information. The anticipated start date for this project would be sometime in May or June. This is a large enough project that we're expecting the contractor to want to get an early start, but it will be dependent on the contractor's schedule, and it will be weather dependent as well. The final completion date for this project is estimated to be near the end of September, and that doesn't necessarily mean that this entire project area will be in a state of construction from May to the end of September, nor is it a guarantee that all the work will be completed by then. It just means that the contractor has that window of time to complete the work. And if they do not complete it by that date, the city may consider applying financial penalties. The project will also be completed in phases, and each phase has a specific amount of time allotted for construction. During construction, there will be times, and especially in the rehab areas, where residents will not have access to their driveway and will need to park vehicles on nearby streets that are not under construction. When this becomes necessary, you'll be notified several days in advance. Access will be changing throughout the project depending on the scope of work in your area and what stage of the project is happening. If you have questions about access, please contact one of our staff. Our field staff will be the best source of information for you on this topic. If you need any special considerations for access, please contact us as soon as possible so that we can do our best to provide accommodations. For example, this may include residents that use a wheelchair or residents who frequently make use of the FM RideSource program. Please feel free to speak to us about your situation and we'll do our best to accommodate you. We will notify the police department when we have a construction project in the area, so they should not be ticketing if you're parked on a side street. If you do get a ticket, please contact engineering staff and we'll work to get it resolved. Garbage and recycling pickup will still happen more or less like normal. If the trucks cannot get through to pick up your containers, we'll still ask that you bring your containers to the end of your driveway. The contractor will pick them up and bring them to a common location to be collected, and then after collection they'll be returned to you. If this becomes necessary, we ask that you put your name and house number somewhere on the container. As I mentioned previously, Xcel does have a project in this area. It's likely that they're going to want to get an early start on their project. We're mentioning this because it's going to be a very busy project area with a lot of work happening. If you see Xcel doing work, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're about to begin construction on the street. We do, however, want to note that when Xcel Energy starts their work, there will be areas in the road where they are excavating, sections of sidewalk that will be removed as they work to reconnect services, and sections of curb and gutter that they may remove as well. Generally, when they do this, they do maintain full access for residents. Assessments on this project are expected to generate approximately $292,000 and come in one type, front footage assessments. There are two different assessment rates, and that depends on the scope of work, so whether it's a mill and overlay or a reconstruct. The rate is applied to the front footage of the property, so generally on a square property or a rectangular property, it's measured at the width of the property as it abuts the street. On this project we have two different types or two different rates, and that is a mill and overlay and a reconstruction. Depending on where you live in the project area, you'll be assessed at one of the two rates. So for a mill and overlay, the rate is $40 a front foot. For a reconstruction, it's $135 a front foot. On this map, you can see the different assessment areas, which again are based on the type of work being done. We've estimated that the project will cost approximately $2.69 million. That includes all of the costs associated with construction, contingencies, and fees. The funding for this project comes from three sources: special assessments, MPS cost share, and a city cost share. Again, special assessments on this project will consist of front footage assessments and are expected to generate approximately $292,000. MPS share of the project is expected to be $1.24 million, and the remaining $1.16 million will be funded as a city cost share paid through general property taxes. If you have questions about the project, please feel free to reach out to the city engineering contact listed below by email or by phone. And if you have questions about construction access or schedule or scope of work, please contact that person. We'd be happy to speak with you by phone or come out and meet on site. Lastly, please let us know if you have a sump pump line or an irrigation line in the boulevard. Oftentimes, we only find out about these after we've dug them up. So if you have one, we can mark it and we'll do our best to try to avoid it. You may be required to relocate it if we can't avoid it, but we do avoid trying to damage them. If you are interested in receiving periodic email updates about the project prior to construction and then during construction, go to the city's website and click on the notifications. There is a spot where you can fill in some contact information and select the project, and then submit to be placed on that distribution list. When we send out updates, you'll receive those emails. Lastly, if you have questions specifically related to special assessments, please feel free to reach out to the city's Special Assessment Coordinator, Amy Seifert. If you have questions about rates or amounts or how the whole process works, she is the one you'll want to speak with. If you made it this far in the presentation, we want to say thank you. Thank you very much for your time, and again, please feel free to reach out with any questions.